Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Folks, what's happening today is Thursday, April 9th, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I'm here on the campus of Virginia State University in Petersburg, Virginia, where we are having a conversation about today's politics, Virginia, but also what's happening April 21st when it comes to the critical referendum that changes the congressional makeup. We're going to talk about how that is going to impact not only Virginia, but also the country, and it will impact African Americans nationally as well. A stellar lineup of folks. We'll be talking with Virginia State's president about what's happening on this campus, 2027 budgets coming out of Congress, and what's happening with HBCUs nationally. Again, we'll have national leaders, state leaders, lots to talk about. Plus, we'll pay homage to Paul Robeson, whose birthday will be today, one of our greatest leaders. We don't talk about him enough, but we'll also share the perspective as well. Folks, it is time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's a go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
All right, folks, we got a packed house here at the campus of Virginia State University in Petersburg. We're live. Glad to be back here. Of course, we're here during the last election, and so glad to be back as well. Lots to talk about what's happening in Virginia. There's a special election taking place April 21st. Early voting is happening right now that will temporarily change the congressional makeup. It's a 10-to-1 map. it would favor Democrats over Republicans. And so what is happening right now is you've got white Republicans in this state using blackface Republicans to send out mailers that are frankly an abomination, as well as running commercials. And I told y'all the game that they play. And so if y'all actually watch this show, when you turn on our YouTube channel, they actually are running their ads before this show. So they went to YouTube to specifically buy this show. And so they're not paying us. They went to YouTube to run their ads. The same thing the MAGA folks did in the 2024 election. And so just understand, what is going on here. So we're going to be breaking down this referendum and talking about what's happening in the state as well. And so a lot of people we're going to be chatting with. Let's kick this things off with Samuel Parham. He's the mayor of Petersburg. Y'all give it up for him. All right, Mayor, glad to have you. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Well, we're happy to have you here in Petersburg.
Well, glad to be here. Before we got in today, and I called Bruce Smith, and I dropped by the temporary casino, and so he was showing me around, and he was sharing with me what's happening there. So lots of things are happening here in Petersburg. For folks who don't know, just to give them a sense of what is happening in your city. Hold up a little bit more. Hold up a bit.
Our live casino hotel resort is under construction right now in Petersburg, which is a $1.4 billion development, which is the largest in the history of the city of Petersburg. And right now what you see in the temporary structure is over 500 jobs right there that's going on, along with 36 table games, over 900 slot machines, and a restaurant is in there. And right now it's far exceeding everybody's expectations. In this first month opening, it did $15 million of revenue for the Commonwealth of Virginia. So it's huge, just to show people that Petersburg is a destination place to come. And once the hotel and the 4,000-seat entertainment venue, the 75,000 square foot of conference and event space, we're going to be able to host you over there too, Roland. So mark your calendar. So in 2027.
Well, they took me through the whole deal, and they were showing me everything. They told me it's 100 acres and showing all it's going to be in mixed-use development. And as somebody who does not gamble, but I play golf, first thing I said was, where the golf course? So I'm just letting you know that was the first thing. So listen, I tell people, if y'all trying to get my attention, golf is the best way to get it. Because if it ain't golf, I ain't coming.
We have Golf Course Race, which is one of the top 10 municipal golf courses in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So next time you're in Petersburg, come and get teed up in Petersburg. That's your golf balls and everything.
That's not a problem. Again, if I'm gonna gamble, if I miss the putt, I'm gonna blame me. That's how I look at it. So, but that was one of the first things I asked. It was great to see Bruce. Great to see what is happening, and also, of course, the first question I asked when they were talking about economic development, I asked about black contracts, and they said the minority. I said no, I didn't say minority. I said black. I was real specific, so we had to cover that too. So because that's what we do. I say black people and minorities, and so I separate us. I want to know how much we getting. That's always the deal. You talked about a destination, and listen, cities all across the country are trying to figure out how to put themselves on the map, and so with that, look, you have different options of people coming to the state. What do you want them to come here to do? I mean, obviously, once this is finished, but what else do you want them to do?
Well, I want them to come here. We're a foodie town in Petersburg. If you've never been to Croaker Spot or to Buttery Bacon House or Saucy's Barbecue, we just have King's Barbecue, which is
y'all got any good gumbo in Petersburg?
Let me tell you, the gumbo we have in Petersburg, we may have some at Croaker Spot. We may have some good gumbo there.
See, that Mayor, that was not the good answer. When you say we may have, you got to say, I'm from Houston, my grandparents from Louisiana, so I'm just saying that ain't quite the answer I was looking for.
Brother, we need you to bring that family gumbo to Petersburg.
I'm gonna have to get in somebody's kitchen and show them what's going on, because I had gumbo before I had breast milk, so I that's why I asked that question. So you were saying a foodie town. All right, okay, what else?
On top of that, we have so many people that come, whether you're in the military, down to Fort Lee. Virginia State University has always been the crown asset of Petersburg. Whenever you're in Petersburg, they say Virginia State. You say Virginia State, they say Petersburg. So with that, we also have a tremendous history, civil rights history that is with Wyatt T. Walker. We have First Baptist Church, the oldest black church inside the United States. And we just had a complete renovation of our Trailways bus station, which is Griffin Restaurant. And it was on all the sit-ins and everything happened right there at that Trailways bus station in Petersburg. So we're able to bring a lot of these historic artifacts back online. It's an exciting time to be able to tell the history, to be able to showcase the history. Because in my time growing up in Petersburg, we didn't hear a lot about the history in Petersburg, but now I'm happy to be at the seat to be able to create that new energy and that new enthusiasm in what's going on in the city of Petersburg.
All right, that sounds good. Now let's talk about this referendum. One of the things that I have been saying for years is that when black folks vote our numbers, things change. It was in 2023. You got a state delegate that was running, lost by 58 votes. 2025, she came back and won. We'll be chatting with her a little bit later. And one of the things we talked about in 23 was it was not a great turnout in Petersburg. And what I keep saying, whether we're talking Petersburg, whether we're talking North Carolina, whether we're talking Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, where you have a significant number of black folks, we have to be completely rethinking in terms of how we vote, but also connecting the dots, public policy, social policy, corporate with how we vote as well. And what I keep saying is our number has to be minimum 70%. If you actually look at the data, if we hit that number and other folks vote on the same level, we can sweep elections locally, state, and impact national as well. And so when it comes to, go ahead. So when it comes to this referendum, what are you and others doing in this city to get folks to understand that they can't just simply assume something will pass, that we have to be proactive and drive our numbers?
What we have to do is we got to go back to old school route, Roland, because right now, for so many years, everyone could just go to church on Sunday and tell everybody that this election is important and for everyone to come out. But in this day and time, I've noticed that everybody's not on social media. The newspapers don't have a real big circulation anymore. So what we have to do is go door to door, and it's the old school route to bring people out, and that's what works. If you knock on people's door and tell them what's going on, they will come out and vote. If you don't, I've seen the numbers really be low. But that canvassing is super important, and being able to hit the streets and create that buzz.
Are you seeing? And this is a hypothesis that I've said is that there was a group of people coming out of Black Freedom Movement, others call Civil Rights Movement, that from the period of 1970, I say going through the 1990s. They were very active. They were the ones who kept us abreast of what was happening in City Hall, school district, county government. But that generation, they're now in their 70s. They're retiring or passing away. My parents are 78. My dad will be 79 later this month. My mom is 79 in November. And my entire life active in politics, active in neighborhood, local politics. What I've said is that generation has not been replaced. Are you seeing the same thing here?
I'm seeing the same thing here, Roland, is that we have a gap of leadership just because I know, just to be honest, in Petersburg, I know a lot of our trailblazers didn't pass the torch. And right now we're working on getting that torch relit because we have a younger generation that is enthusiastic, they engage, and they want to make a difference. And that's something that we're doing in Petersburg now by engaging our young people. We got an internship program coming up for its 4th year in a row. We have over 100+ kids in there and teaching them about local politics is the backbone of all politics.
But are they also being taught, though, the intricacies of mobilizing and organizing? Because what often happens, I think what has happened is there's this assumption that, well, we can just drive things on social media, we can put out a tweet or a post, whether it's Instagram or TikTok. But the reality is, when you say how old school works, old school is really a micro strategy of looking at the data, looking at how many people are registered, how many people are eligible, how many people voted, pulling that and saying we're going to go target that precinct and say, hey, if there are 400 people who are in that precinct, but only 250 voted or 150 voted, then we need to target those remaining people. That's going to require block walking. That's going to require door-to-door. And I think that's, to me, when you say with the gap, I think that's where the gap is. A lot of folks want to be about electronics as opposed to, no, literally having to knock on that door and have a physical conversation with someone about upcoming election. What do you care about? What are the issues and how there's going to be impact? I think that's where the gap is.
It is. And I agree with you 100%. And like you said, we really got complacent in those days, thinking that that we just had made it and we didn't have to really insert ourselves back into politics in the city and also state and nationally. And I think we see from 2008, the city of Petersburg was number 2 in the nation as far as turnout per capita for Barack Obama. And coming off of that, I think complacency kind of set in, Roland, and finding that new energy to come out and get people back re-engaged, I think is really what's going on with, you seeing what's going on nationally that is really getting people back engaged, back ready to make a difference. They see what's going on in D.C. and they like, heck no, I'm tired of this. Let's get back out here and get active.
Well, I think it's not just folks got complacent. If you look at the stats, black turnout has actually dropped in each successive election since 2008. In fact, the 2008 election was the first time in American history, by percentage, not overall number, that a higher percentage of black voters voted in 2008 than white voters did. Yes. It never happened in American history. What I said then was to black folks, now you see what our power looks like, so now replicate that on a national, state, county, city level.
Exactly. And that's key. That's where we are today, to build that enthusiasm, to build that level of engagement. And I see the city of Petersburg is definitely going to be in the forefront of that. We are the blackest city in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So I tell everybody that all roads lead through
How
Petersburg.
black? What's the number?
80%. Okay?
80%?
Yes. Over 80% African Americans. So you got to realize when you're talking to make a change, to make the pivot, we want you to start in Petersburg, because we have the door stops, the doors, and we have the homes, and the people that are in Petersburg are there and waiting to be tapped. So we're going to have all boots on the ground to make sure that we get everybody out for April 21st.
All right, well, and I tell people you don't have to wait until April 21st. You can actually vote now.
Yes,
my deal is like, get it done.
That's right. Go vote now.
Don't wait.
That's right. Absolutely.
All right. Mayor, we appreciate it.
All right.
Glad
appreciate you,
show.
Roland.
Thanks a bunch.
I'm going to have them golf balls waiting for you. Dogwood
right,
Trace.
Listen.
Come play Petersburg.
I can play. Can you play?
Hey, I can play. Let's do it. It's on.
Hold on.
Let's get it.
What's your handicap?
Hey, come on there, Roland.
No. What's your handicap? What's your gin?
Man, my gin is too high right now.
See right there. See, when somebody tell you they can play, then when you ask them that handicap, then you ask them to show you the actual handicap number. It's amazing how that conversation just trails off.
It's too high. It just drops. It just drops.
All right, then. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thanks a bunch.
All right,
folks, give it up for Mayor Parham. We got a QR code for y'all. The John Mercer Langston Institute of Political Leadership here at Virginia State University is conducting a nonpartisan survey to assess public opinion across the Commonwealth. This study examines voter engagement attitudes towards electoral processes such as redistricting and perceptions of state and national governance. If you want to participate in the survey, there's a QR code on the screen. So everybody who's watching, in the room as well, y'all pull your phones out, point it towards the screen. You can participate. It's not that hard. Some of y'all, listen, that is not a rhetorical question I just gave. It's literal, so you should be pulling your phones out to check that QR code out. And again, and if you want, you could take a picture of that. You can text it to other folks who are not here and share it with them. So let's get as many folks as possible who are participating in that particular survey. All right, folks, I'm going to go to a break. We'll come back. More great guests here on the campus of Virginia State University. We're talking about politics here in Virginia. We're talking politics in the country. Again, this April 21st referendum, y'all have heard me say before, vote yes. And I'm going to walk folks through. I'm going to connect all of you, again, to how the election in Virginia could have implications for the national election, and this election on April 21st in Virginia could also determine whether America sees its first black Speaker of the House. And we'll be talking with him in the second hour of today's special edition. I'll be back in a moment.
Virginia, we are counting on you. Republicans want to steal enough seats in Congress to rig the next election and wield unchecked power for 2 more years. But you can stop them by voting yes by April 21st. Help put our elections back on a level playing field and let voters decide, not politicians. This is the responsible thing to do. Help us chart a better path forward, Virginia. Vote yes by April 21st.
What's happening? This is your man, Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching the Black Star Network.
All right. We are back again. We are here, folks, on the campus of Virginia State University. Back here, we were here last year when they had the House election, when the multi-purpose center. Here we are in. What building are we in? Where are we? The Commons.
The Alfred W. Harris Academic Commons.
They just told me the Commons building. They didn't put all the rest of that stuff on it. They just said the Commons building. Joining us right now is the president of VSU, Dr. McClellan Abdullah. Y'all give it up. A good alpha man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hold on, let me see how many alphas in here though. 1, 9.
Oh, 6.
It's a few. It's a few alphas in here.
It's a few. Any members of other youth groups? Are you here? Are you here? Any Kappas here? Okay, it's one of y'all.
That's right. There you go.
Any Sigmas here? That's one.
That's right.
Got Terrell on my staff, so he's so happy he got somebody to talk to. Any Omegas here? Just Henry. He talking to himself.
That's at 1.
Henry ain't got nobody to talk to. He ain't got he's gonna talk to himself. Just go get a mirror. Any iotas here? No. Okay, so it'd be Henry and the iotas talking to each other. All right, then. Glad to see your brothers here. And, of course, brothers who are non-Greek. Any Masons here? All right. Boule? G5G? Brothers in men's ministry?
I know that's right.
Just check it. You know, you got
everybody.
Just check it. Just check it. Just check it. All right. It's been a while since we're here. What's been happening on campus? We had a good conversation last time. What's new?
We did. Well, first, one of the things that's new is last time my wife watched me on TV, and today she's here. So I just wanted to shout out to my wife. We've been married 30 years, and I'm trying to stay married a little longer. So you'll forgive me for doing that. The other thing is I think we have a few Trojans in the house. So can I get a Hail State? So we got a few Trojans in the house. We are excited. Thank you so much for coming last time and coming this time. Anytime that you shed a light on voting, making sure that we tell our students, our faculty, our staff, and of course our wonderful alums, the importance of voting and getting out, it's always important. So we really appreciated you coming before. We're really happy to have you back. We are in our brand new Alfred W. Harris Academic Commons. I said the whole phrase because Alfred W. Harris is our founder. But not only that, when black people were able to vote in Virginia, and we got the right to vote in 1870, one of the biggest things that black people did first was elect delegates like Alfred W. Harris, who then founded Virginia State University. And so we are founded We were founded from a political movement where black people voted. The very first congressman from the Commonwealth of Virginia was John Mercer Langston, who was our first president, right? And so we have a history of voting. We have a history of activism through voting. And it's good that you're here so that we can continue to tell that story and get people out this time.
See, one of the things that for many of us who don't really understand the history, if you look at after the end of slavery, that Reconstruction period, where you saw black folks who were elected to legislatures across the country. In South Carolina, it was majority black. And what the folks don't realize is education in America, that is a result of black people. It was the formerly enslaved people of African descent who got elected, and the first thing they did in many places was put education in the state constitution. Publicly financed education in America did not exist before slavery. Look, that is a result of black people. And when they ran the black people out, they got rid of a lot of stuff except that. And so when we talk about publicly financed education in America, that is the creation of black folks.
When black people joined the Readjuster Party here in Virginia and exerted their political might, the two things three. One was to get rid of the whipping post. The second was to make sure that all of our public schools, black and white, were fully funded. And the third was Virginia State University. And so you are absolutely right. Education has always been on our forefront.
And we talk about turnout, and we talk about in terms of our involvement. Again, I'm going to go back to education. In the education of blacks in the South, 1860 to 1935, Richard D. Anderson. Black participation in education in Memphis was 92%. White folks in D.C. wasn't even at 50%. And I keep telling folk, former slaves said we couldn't read. They wouldn't let us read. So there must have been something powerful about that book, and they didn't want us to read. And that was one of the first things that they did. And I think we have to get back to that fervor for education from K all the way up through college.
Look, you are absolutely right. There is a movement right now where there are many who are saying that college isn't worth it, that they wonder whether a college degree is worth it for folks to get. But the people who are writing those articles and saying those things, one, they all went to college, right? And second, they're all sending their kids to college. So who are those messages for? Those messages are for our kids, to discourage our young people from achieving education. And if people are trying to work so hard for you to not get an education, you should get an education.
Well, see, so I think what has to change when we have this conversation is that when we talk about when they say, well, it's not worth it, that's because there has been a literal divestment in education. If you look all across the country, state legislatures are allocating fewer dollars to public institutions. So as a result, the cost of education has dramatically risen. Well, if it's gotten to the point where it's going to cost somebody $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 to get a college education, they're never going to be able to pay that back. See, that's the part they keep leaving out, how the cost has risen. As president, give folk a sense of what you're seeing in terms of students returning, making it affordable for them to be able to start, but more importantly, to finish.
Well, I think one of the things that's critically important is that here in Virginia, Virginia State University, is that the camera? Virginia State University is the most affordable four-year institution in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
This black-owned company, we got 6 cameras.
Six cameras. I'll look at all of them at one time.
We got that one. Yeah, so yeah, we don't come here with one camera.
But one of the things that we fight for is to make sure that college can be affordable. We are the most affordable four-year institution in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I'd also love to say, and thank you for that, that was a layup, is I want to give honor to those elected officials who are coming on later for their incredible support of Virginia for State University. Whether it's Delegate Kimberly Pope Adams, who holds the very seat that Alfred W. Harris used to hold, Delegate Delores McQuinn, the Speaker of the House, Don Scott, our senator, who I just saw backstage, Senator Tim Kaine, who many people don't know, but he is largely responsible for the multi-purpose center existing here at Virginia State University. And so we've had some incredible support from elected officials, and I'm honored to be here at Virginia State and to work in Virginia.
Well, but you name those folks, but that's what I mean. We talk about how we vote. We have to tie our vote to what someone says they're going to do, and then make sure they actually do it. And that's important, because there are a lot of folk who run, who win, then when they get into a state capitol or get to Congress, then don't do those things. And so I am constantly trying to connect the dots and get people to understand if there's a direct correlation to who we elect and then what is the public policy that then is achieved once they're actually there.
No, look, you're absolutely right. As you know, I'm a public official. I have a government job here in Virginia, so I don't talk politics on camera. Having said that, though, I understand.
Well, no, hold on. I want to pin the pin in that, because here's what I need people to understand.
Yeah.
This is a state institution.
That's right.
Which means it is governed by the state. If you're governed by the state, that means this entire institution is a political institution.
This entire institution is a political institution. Let me finish.
Hold up. But I need the alumni and the students to understand that their engagement in the political process has a direct result on what returns back to the campus.
So you
can't divorce the two.
Oh, no, you can't. As a matter of fact, let me pick that up. And that's why it's important that you're here to talk about voting, particularly for this referendum, right? One of the things that we have to do, we have to go out, we have to vote and make our votes count. And then we've got to hold the people accountable for the work that they're doing. And so you're here. I want everybody to read and understand the referendum and then get out, and how you go vote, get out and vote before April 21st, because you can do it now. And if you support it and you think that it's what needs to happen, then you need to support the people that wrote it. And if you don't support it, then you need to vote the people who wrote it out. But we have to hold our elected officials accountable after we vote. It's not enough to vote once every 4 years. We vote every year, sometimes twice a year, right? And when we do, we always have to go out. We have to represent. We have to make sure our views are on the table.
When it comes to campus, folks who don't know, how many students?
We got a little over 6,000 students. We're about 250 acres. We have a plethora of undergraduate programs and I believe 10 graduate programs. We are in the CIAA. Last year we won the basketball championship. We got the best students in the world here at Virginia State University. And we just completed, because you're sitting in it, a $130 million academic building that houses many of our academic programs and students taking classes in here now. We got a dormitory going up, a new welcome center going up, new things are happening at Virginia State University. As my communications person tells me all the time, greater happens here.
How are you, because a lot of people don't realize that you can either be registered where you go to school or home. And so how have you all been letting students know, check your status, and if you're not registered at home, then you can actually register here and vote here?
I want to shout out the political science organization here on campus, the group of students, and also SGA, along with our John Mercer Langston Leadership Institute, that really works hard to get the word out to students, to tell them, one, if they're local and they decide to vote local, where can they vote? If you're on campus, you vote in one place. If you're off campus, you're going to vote in another. If you're going to take an absentee ballot and vote where you are, how do you get that absentee ballot and how do you vote? We want students to vote wherever they feel most comfortable, but we need them to vote.
Right. But as I tell them, you got to be registered first.
You got to be registered to vote.
And then vote second. A couple of more questions. I did your commencement a few years ago, and for your commencements now, does the band or the choir show up now?
The band and the choir show up now.
Okay,
yes,
I'm just saying. I mean, had me doing commencement, wasn't nobody there, so I made a brother who was graduating sing.
I was going to talk about that. You brought a graduating senior out of the audience to sing impromptu from the stage.
You can't have nobody black sing. You can't have nobody black speak without an A and B selection.
Look, that was so good. I've done that same thing twice. So I copy you now at commencement. I'll bring somebody up. I brought Perry Evans up last time. So we always try to get some some music.
Checking, because I was like, ain't no band here, ain't no choir here. I said, we got to have some form of music up in here. So we got it done. All right, then. Well, Mr. President, good to see you. Congratulations on all that's happening. And I really do hope that we see a massive turnout of students on this campus in this referendum because, again, when I hear students complain now about what's happening with student loan debt, there was a different policy when Biden and Harris were in there compared to now. That's tied to the election. The attacks on the Affordable Care Act, you can stay on your parents' insurance until you're 25. Guess what? That also involves in voting. And so I'm always trying to get students to understand you can't check out of a process because they're playing politics against you now, so you might as well be in the game.
Look, you heard Roland Martin. Your vote matters. Thank you, sir.
In every election.
Thank you for coming to Virginia.
I appreciate it. Coming up next, Senator Tim Kaine will join us. We're live here at the campus of Virginia State University. Don't forget, if y'all want to support the work that we do, join our Brain and Funk fan club. Unlike a lot of these right-wing media folks where they got billionaires cutting them checks, that is not the case with us. But our fan base has been amazing. More than 38,000 people have donated to our show since we launched September 4th, 2018. They've given in excess of $5 million in those 7 years, folks buying into our vision. And so if you're one of those folks who want to join, our goal is to get 20,000 people on average contributing $50 each a year, which comes out to $1 million to offset our expenses, which come out to $195,000 a month. I keep telling y'all, freedom ain't free. People hit me all the time like, hey, can you come to our campus? I'm like, you do know that actually costs, because we came here with 9 people, 2 vehicles, lots of equipment, and everything you see here is paid for. And so we got top of the line stuff, 4K cameras and all of that, but the costs are real. And so when you contribute to our fan club, you help support this show and the 5 other shows that are on our network. If you want to use Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That QR code is also for credit cards. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. There's a whole bunch of y'all do not believe in digital. Y'all still seeing checks and money orders, and I got to go to the P.O. Box to pick them up. Make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal is R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Back in a moment.
Why does it feel like we're going backward? Voting rights under attack, schools stripped of funding, Black history erased. This is the Trump MAGA agenda. They want to take us back. They are redrawing congressional lines in states across the country, deciding who gets power and who gets silenced. We see what this is, a power grab. Virginians won't be fooled. Show up, vote, take back our power. It's a temporary measure that gives the people, not politicians, the final say. Vote yes by April 21st.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Lee, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to Virginia State University. Glad to see everybody here. We'll continue our conversation talking about what's happening in the state politics and, of course, this crucial referendum taking place April 21st. Voting is happening right now. Put your hands together for our next guest and welcome one of your 2 United States senators, Senator Tim Kaine.
Thank you, guys. Hey, Roland.
How's it going?
Good to see you.
Glad to be with you. Yes, sir. Take a seat.
Will do.
All right. How happy?
Hey, DSU. Great to be with you.
How happy are you not to be dealing with these crazy folk in D.C.?
Oh, my gosh. I have to come in Virginia to get my head reoriented. I'll be back in D.C. Monday, but it's been 2 weeks of traveling around the state, waiting to see if the House will finally pass the unanimous bill that the Senate passed to fund government. And they're stumbling all over themselves, but we hope they get there.
I'm also. Do we have a ceasefire or not? What I mean, I don't know what
It is a. It's a partial It's a partial, some parts of the country, some parts of the region, other parts not. We don't exactly know how long it'll last. The president changes his mind every day. Now, look, I'd rather have even a partial ceasefire than a war that's illegal and unwise. And we got to make it permanent and then find a solution that works for everybody.
I started with those two things because what I'm always trying to do is getting my audience to understand you have to connect the dots. And when I travel around the country and people say, man, this country is going to hell, I want to do something. They say, I don't know what to do. My first thing I ask them, what are the one or two things you care about the most? And I want you to start there. But I then try to connect the dots that whatever that issue is, and I don't care what it is, I don't care what the issue is, you can connect it to D.C. because even if there are things you're trying to get funded in Virginia, their stuff comes funded from D.C. Stuff that gets funded in your city may come from the state through a community development block grant fund that's still coming. Yep. And so I think a part of this, we have to connect the dots in a much different way for people to understand politics at its most basic level.
Can I connect one dot with you? So in this war, last week we heard the president's has sent us a defense budget that goes from $800 billion to $1.5 trillion. And he said, Medicaid, child care, Medicare, we don't have enough money for that. We're fighting wars. You can't increase the defense budget by that much without taking it out of other programs. And so we're going to see a budget that isn't, the headline might have been the increase in the defense budget, but buried in the details is all the cuts that they're making.
Yeah.
Pell Grant, there's a Pell Grant shortage. We could be doing that. We could be giving people more health care. The $200 billion that they want as a supplemental for Iran, that would have funded the ACA tax credits for like 7 years. They weren't willing to do that because they wanted to do tax credits for the top tax giveaways to the top 1%, and now we're going to do more in war and claim we don't have enough money to get people health care.
But not only that, we broke it down just the other day on the show, the proposed cuts that they are sending, cuts to HBCUs,
yep,
cuts to affordable housing, cuts to opportunities for black-owned businesses. Mm-hmm. So we listed all of the things that they want to cut that specifically impacts African Americans.
Yep. 80,000 people in Virginia have already lost SNAP benefits because of that reconciliation bill they did last year. Tens of thousands have lost health care because they wouldn't extend the Obamacare tax credits. We already have in Virginia health care providers that are closing because of Medicaid cuts. 3 primary clinics in the Shenandoah Valley and Farmville. They just shut the labor and delivery ward at the main hospital in Farmville. So if you're going to have a baby there, you got to drive a long way rather than having a baby at the hospital right in town. All these cuts were because of that reconciliation bill, and it only passed because they rigged to steal the 3 seats in North Carolina. It would have failed except for the seats that they stole, and they're trying to steal more seats in other states across the country.
Well, I want to go back to the 80,000 SNAP benefits because all of those farmers who voted for Trump didn't realize how much money they were making because of the SNAP program and USAID. And so now all of a sudden, I'm seeing all of these orange tears, and I'm like,
orange tears.
Yes.
Took me a minute.
Yes. And I'm like, thoughts and prayers. I'm sorry. This is what you voted for.
Well, you look, this is a land grant. So we're right here with an ag department at Virginia State. It's always been a heavy ag research school, right? Ag and forestry is still number 1 in Virginia. But they've been hit with tariffs. They've been hit with indiscriminate immigration raids. And they're hit with these cuts. Rural Virginia is most dependent upon Medicaid. So when Medicaid cuts happen, it's not the hospitals and cities that close. It's hospitals and clinics in rural Virginia. And you're right. I think some are starting to say, hold on a second. This isn't what I wanted. Maybe you didn't want it, but it is what you voted for.
You mentioned the 3 seats in North Carolina. And again, trying to get people to think differently. And I've seen all the commercials. I live in Northern Virginia. I've seen the commercials. I've seen the mailers. I've seen those things. I've seen, again, the orange tears of conservatives in this state who were very quiet with what happened in my home state.
Yep.
Understand, I'm still a registered voter in Texas. my home was in the 30th Congressional District of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Yep.
I follow, my parents live in my home there. All my family's in Texas, so I know it very well. The reality is, this entire gerrymandering fight, this mid-decade, this started, this cycle with Donald Trump saying, give me 5 seats in Texas.
Yep.
That's where it started. Mm-hmm. So when you hear a lot of the Republicans who are complaining about what's happening now in Virginia, they were quiet when that happened. Yep. They were quiet when, in Missouri, the Republicans took the seat of Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. Yep. They were quiet when Republicans in North Carolina took the seat of Congressman Don Davis. They were quiet in 2022 when Ron DeSantis took the black seat in northern Florida. Yep. So what people don't realize, the Republicans have actually taken 5 black seats through gerrymandering, but they're complaining about 10-1 in Virginia.
Right. It is a complete double standard. And just use the North Carolina as an example. When North Carolina GOP did it 23-24, took 3 seats, that was the margin that passed the reconciliation bill.
Actually, I want you to go before that.
Yeah.
Because the Republicans had a 10-4 majority in North Carolina.
Yep.
When the Democrats took control of the state Supreme Court, they got rid of gerrymandering. It was 7-7.
Yep.
When folk did not vote, Sherrod Beasley lost by 401 votes. Republicans took it back. It went back to the old map. That's where those seats came from. So that was a point where it was 7-7.
Sure.
But that's also an example of folks not voting in the state Supreme Court race, which impacted gerrymandering.
And so people have said to me, oh, well, so North Carolina did something. Why should Virginia? Well, if North Carolina did something and the result is Virginians lose Medicaid benefits, Virginians lose SNAP benefits, as Texas is going to make it worse and our people are getting punched, you can't just stand around and do nothing. And I'll tell you the other thing, Roland, that I feel very strongly about, and this is a question for the audience. What is the likelihood that if Donald Trump doesn't like the election results this November or in November 2028, what's the likelihood that he'll try to interfere with them and overturn them? We've already seen him do it, so you have to say it's near 100%.
Well, first of all, you already have the new head of Homeland Security, Mr. Fight Club, who has made it clear that if they need to send ICE to polling stations, they will. I don't trust them at all.
Right.
What we are seeing, and they complained about this here. We literally are seeing an absolute assault on everything about voting in this country.
Yep.
We are seeing an assault. This is, for me, a Jim Crow 2.0 when we see the attack. This Louisiana versus Calais decision is going to be devastating to black politics across the South. And what they do not want people to vote. We'll cue this up. 1981, Paul Weyrich, who was the co-founder of the Moral Majority, founder of the Heritage Foundation, said in a speech in Dallas, Texas, we do not want everyone to vote.
Yep.
That's the Republican Party line.
And let me connect to that. How about voting by mail? The president just voted by mail in his home district, but he's trying to wipe out voting by mail for everybody else. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? If they're going to maybe send ICE agents to polls to intimidate people, they're not going to be able to intimidate people from dropping a letter in a mailbox. So if they can wipe out vote by mail, if they can wipe out early vote, and so you have to go to the poll, then they know where to flood the zone on Election Day and try to intimidate people.
Well, they attacked assaults to the polls, Sunday voting.
Right.
They attacked early voting. In North Carolina, the federal court ruled there was surgical-like precision where they targeted black voters during early voting.
And yet they upheld it, and the Supreme Court upheld it anyway.
Yeah, so I need people to understand this is not just a political insider conversation.
No.
This is an attempt, if they know based upon numbers, and because they've actually said it publicly, if more people in America vote, they lose. They've actually said that. So my whole deal is we see what's going on here.
Yeah, and let me say something that is completely factual. It'll sound partisan. It's completely factual. Donald Trump tried to interfere with the election January 6, 2021.
Insurrectionist.
He'll do it again. He'll do it again. You got to have a Congress that will stand up to him. In 2021, the Virginia congressional delegation was 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans. Did the 5 Republicans in the delegation stand up to Donald Trump? No, they voted to decertify the election. They went with Trump. You got to have a Congress, an Article I branch that is willing to stand up and check a tyrant. You have to.
I'll say this here. I mean, I've never identified as a Democrat, Republican, or independent. I'll make it clear I'm black. But I have to say this here. The reason I'm happy to see what Virginia is doing, because I think Democrats have punked out too much in the past. I believe that Democrats have played.
Sounds like an amen.
It's a huge amen. Democrats have played by a set of rules to a game that no longer exists. Yeah. When people don't, again, I'm going to go back to where I'm from. This whole mid-decade redistricting thing started in Texas in 2003 with Tom DeLay. That's where this started. It used to be every 10 years. And so have the blue states gerrymandered? Yes. The Supreme Court ruled they don't have any authority to oversee political gerrymandering. It's up to the states. And I've said, you Democrats would be nuts to say, okay, y'all go ahead and take it as far as you can, but we're going to play by a different set of rules and be fair. I'm like, no, this is about power. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad to see Democrats finally wake up and say, no, we taking this thing to the mat. I mean, this is how you have to play the political game that's being played right now.
Well, and you know, the Virginia motto, our Virginia motto hadn't changed since 1776, sic semper tyrannis, we stand up to tyrants. And if we were to be silent or quiet when this is going on, we wouldn't be true to what we say about ourselves.
But what the issue that you're facing right now is this, and that is you got to get folks out. When you look at various polling data, certain folks are not necessarily excited about it. Obviously, Republicans are really pushing hard. No. When you look at the messaging, does it need to be even more explicit and tougher in laying it out? Because I said fair, I get that.
Yep.
I personally believe that the messaging is too nice.
Yep. Okay.
People have to really understand the stakes and what is at stake by voting yes or no.
I'll pass that on. I mean, that's why I always talk about what they've done in other states has already led to the closure of Virginia healthcare facilities. What they've done has already led to 80,000 people lose SNAP benefits and tens of thousands losing Medicaid. You got to make it like it's not a theoretical, like a good government exercise. They are kicking around some of the most vulnerable people in our Commonwealth, and nobody elected me to the Senate to stand around and watch my people get punched and not try to come to their aid and make sure we're fighting back. You got to fight back. I believe in rules. I lived in a military dictatorship in Honduras where there wasn't a rule of law, and that made me really believe in the rule of law. But when the other side is breaking the rules, you got to stand up to them. What does every parent teach a child about a bully, right? If there's a bully, you don't just cave, you stand up to the bully. You have to.
Yes, that's why I use the hashtag team whip that ass. That's my hashtag.
And so you got it right before I could. That's why I couldn't get it.
Senator Warner was like, damn, did he just say hashtag team whip that ass? Yes, I did. Hashtag WHIP DATASS. That's what I said. Yes. Yes. Because I say that because again, I need
that's a Texas the Virginia translation of whip that ass is sic semper tyrannis.
Yeah. I don't even know what that means. See, what is it called again? Semper what?
Sic semper tyrannis.
Sic semper. Nah. Everybody in this room know what team whip that ass means. Because when y'all acted a fool, your parents said, let me holler at you. They did not say Tempur-Pedic sofa. They didn't say that. When I say make it plain, Joe Madison, God rest his soul, the Black Eagle.
Right.
Joe always said you got to put it where the ghosts can get it. And what I have been saying since the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon con man in chief, I don't use the title president. I respect the office of the president only if that person respects the office of the president.
Wow.
So he doesn't. And so I've been very specific by saying that what we are seeing is an effort to defund Black America. And what I need people to understand is that this is a literal war that we're in the middle of. Project 2025 was their game plan.
Yep.
They gave it to folks. And people still who didn't vote now are going, oh my God.
Right.
I mean, when I listen to these largely white farmers go, I didn't vote for this. Yes, you did. Mm-hmm. You just didn't read it. Mm-hmm. We tried to. And so I think we have to be as clear to people as possible what is going on, because the agenda that they're trying to execute is one that does not look out for that everyday common man. I keep saying the folk who support Trump, he won't even let them walk through his hotel lobby. Mm-hmm. But they're confused thinking he supports them. And people have to realize, like, this is a war over the next 30, 40, 50 years. That's what we're facing right now.
Yep. Well, I would say in Virginia, because we're so military, people are really seeing what this president is doing. He said he was going to be a peace president. He was going to end forever wars, and said he started more wars in his first year than anybody in office. And he said he was going to focus on bringing prices down, both because of chaos and tariffs, and the wars that he's starting, prices are going up. So what he said, he did the exact opposite. But him doing the exact opposite of what he promised is something you could have counted on based on the first term. So in Virginia, this war weighs heavily, with so many families worried about their kids being deployed, going into a war with no rationale, no game plan, no ally support, and no public support of the American public, and no Congress.
And 15 months of massive cuts to the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Right. Massive cuts.
They just what was the housing program for veterans?
Yep.
That just got torpedoed as well.
Yep.
That was a program specifically to help veterans get in houses.
Yep.
They got rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And more and more and more, and that's why I know Senator Warner's here. The editorial in our Virginian Pilot paper down at Hampton Roads a couple days ago about the war said, listen, I've been forcing war votes virtually every week to try to get people, hey, you know, we shouldn't be hiding this under a bushel basket. Do you know Congress? We're 40 days into this war. Congress has refused to hold a single public hearing about it because the Republican committee chairs, the last thing they want to do is put these folks on under oath in front of a camera and have tough questions be asked. So they only tell us, Roland, in classified, so that we can't share what we know. It's really frustrating to not know something. It's even more frustrating to know something. Have a family member ask me, is my kid going to get deployed, or how long are we going to be there? And for me to say, I'd really like to answer the question, but they're trying to handcuff me by putting it all in a classified setting. So this is, as you say, this is big, but the big global issues, you can connect them right back to the pain people are feeling at home.
Absolutely. Senator Tim Kaine, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Roland. Really
Thanks
good to be
bunch.
with you. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Right, sick, temper, Peter. I don't know what he just said. I don't know. Tempura fish, I don't know. Let's bring up Kimberly Pope Adams, she's Virginia State Delegate. Delores McQuinn. Let's bring him up. We need to bring a chair out. Bring the chair over here. Yeah, I'm not going to a break. Just bring him on out. Where you at? Where you at? How you doing? How's it going? Y'all good? All right. Go on. Step right on over here. How's it going? Good seeing you. Absolutely. Step right on up. We got the other microphone. Here we go. Well, you all good? All right, step up. Don't worry about it here. Just take this one. Don't worry about it. Ain't no thing. I don't need that. Don't worry about it. We got it. Plus, you're a little shorter than me, so I can just sit right in it. She did that step up. All right. First time I've seen you since you won.
That's right.
All right. How's it been going so far?
Oh, it's been going fantastic. I feel like I'm in the place I'm supposed to be so I can get the work done that we need.
All right, then. Let's talk about this referendum. Again, when leadership change, Democrats controlling the House, Senate, Governor's Mansion as well, you had folks who said, don't do this, don't do this. Why is it critically important to change these maps from your perspective?
Oh, it is critically important because we're not redistricting for Virginia. We're redistricting for the entire United States. This is bigger than us. This is absolutely bigger than us. And as was said earlier, what happened in Texas is what started it. And I am so proud to be a part of a group that can fight back, because that's what we do. In Virginia, we don't write strongly worded letters. All right? We write bills. We write legislation. We write amendments so that the people can have the final say.
Speak to that redistricting for the rest of the country. First of all, where's my third mic? Where's my third mic? Okay. Well, the way they knew I was going to have 3 people, give me the third mic. Come on. Passing the mic like we passing something else. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure.
Talk pass.
I'm not sure what the something else is, but however.
You know there's some medicinal purposes in Virginia. Some folk with some cataract know what I'm talking about. Go ahead. All right.
But you know what, the purpose of it, and Kim has already certainly spoke to that, we need to make sure what we're doing is not just about Virginians. It's about this country. It's about our communities. It's about our nation. It is about those, the education, the health care, all of those services that we know need to be provided, and especially in sometimes, you said, black community and communities of color, we need to make sure that we are doing our part. And I think we sent a very clear message from the General Assembly that, you know what, we're in this, and we're in this fight to stay. And I think that the people, the big challenge for us is to make sure that all of us are getting individuals to the polls, knocking on doors, text messages, calling individuals to make sure that they are going to the polls. So that's where we are. But that's what we are doing.
So I got to get your take on actually. So y'all fix the mic in the break. Got to get your take on these blackface ads that are running, where they're saying, they're using the KKK imagery, saying they're trying to take these 2 black districts, and we fought this before. These are white Republicans who are paying black Republicans as a front to run to run these ads.
Oh, absolutely. And the entire intent of those ads is to sow confusion. What they want to do, they're hoping that in those negative ads, they're hoping that black people will do one of 2 things. Either they will accidentally vote with the other side, or they just won't vote at all. Because either way, that's a win for them. And I say that to everyone I talk to. Not voting in this special election is the same as voting against your best interest. It's no different. So when I see what they're doing, and I see, because they assume that we aren't as smart as we are. We've always been smarter than they've given us credit for, and this time is no different. People are going to see those pieces of mail, they're going to see those ads, and they're going to know what to do. They're going to know to vote yes.
Are you hearing from your constituents that this is confusing?
Absolutely. Many of them are confused, and that's why when I say it's incumbent upon us, all of us, not just elected officials, not just the church, not just preachers, but every last one of us, to tell someone else, you need to go to the polls or take them to the polls, do the early voting. It is so important because people are confused, and especially the elderly population. And so we need to make certain that we are helping them to understand what's going on. When they saw the picture of President Obama and the governor saying no, then many of them called me because they wanted to know, well, what is this all about? I even had a minister to call me and said, I thought that we're supposed to vote no. How did you...
See, y'all know she cussed. You know she cussed that minister out. You know she did. You know you cussed that minister out. Go ahead.
It is what I told them. It is yes, 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 yes. All the way yes. And that is the message that we need to deliver to our communities, deliver to everyone you know. Roland, I think about this and think about the fight that, democracy is generational. our people fought to have the right to vote. October the 22nd, 1867, the first African-American man went to vote at the polls. They fought. And we got to sustain and maintain, and it's our time for this generation to fight what we know is right and what we need in our communities.
So here's my question. Again, I deal with messaging every day with the show. And again, so this is what I see. And so if y'all got some new flyers, I want to know what they are. So I just want you to understand, and again, this is basic fundamental politics. And Lee Atwater was one of evil, but understood politics. And he said, so you have this flyer, and vote no on gerrymandering, protect minority representation. And then you've got this huge photo of former President Barack Obama. And then on the back, let voters decide, not politicians, Barack Obama. Huge photo, vote no today. Okay? So I'm just going to sit here, and again, y'all, this is very basic. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So 27 words on this side. You probably got about the same number of words on this side. Okay? This is the vote yes. It's a lot more words, even more words. Yes is too small. I'm just walking. Yes, go ahead.
All right. Can you
I'm just walking you through. There you go. Oh, that's the new one.
This is the new one.
How new is this? But I want people to understand that, okay, this is new. I got it. But Obama's only on the back, not on the front.
Yes, because that is what we use while we're knocking doors.
Gotcha.
We are showing up, and we're showing up with what you're holding, because we are the best validators. We can speak to each other. We can spread the word. So as my colleague said, it's incumbent upon us to not just have it in writing, but to deliver it. We have to have the message and be the messenger.
So the reason I want to talk about messaging is important. So this says protect minority representation, vote no on gerrymandering. This is the facts. The facts are the people who want black folks to vote no literally stole 5 black seats.
Yes. Yes.
They stole 5 black seats. But here's the flip side. If this passes and Democrats take control of the House, not only will you have a black Speaker of the House, you will have 7 African Americans chairing committees. You will have 30 CBC members chairing subcommittees. So the reality is this voting no does not protect minority representation. Voting yes actually increases black power. But that also has to be explicitly stated for folk to understand.
Absolutely. And it's no better messengers than myself and my colleague. We're a part of a Democrat majority in Virginia. There are 64 Democrats in the State House. So we know what our power can do. So that's why it's incumbent upon us to make sure we let people know this is bigger than just Virginia. The entire nation is counting on us to level the playing field, and it starts by voting yes right now.
Last point.
The last point is we just have to vote yes. Tell someone else and carry someone else to the poll with you.
But yes. I want you to make a point. There's somebody who's watching who is not excited, who's not focused, and who may consider sitting on the sidelines. What do you say to that person?
I would say to them, voting yes helped to change help to shift what is going on on the federal level, as well as in our local communities. The occupant of the White House has created havoc. If you like it, then you vote with him. But if you don't like what's going on and you want to make a difference in your community and in this nation, you must vote yes.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I'm going to go to a break. We come back, we'll talk with Virginia Speaker of the House, Don Scott, as well as Senator Mark Warner. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
Why does it feel like we're going backward? Voting rights under attack, schools stripped of funding, black history erased. This is the Trump MAGA agenda. They want to take us back. They are redrawing congressional lines in states across the country, deciding who gets power and who gets silenced. We see what this is, a power grab. Virginians won't be fooled. Show up, vote, take back our power. It's a temporary measure that gives the people, not politicians, the final say. Vote yes by April 21st.
I love you, son. And your mother. More than anything. And I'm gonna keep doing the best I can to prove it. If you've seen it in your mind, you can create it. Protect your mind, son. It's your greatest asset. Protect your mind.
Decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads.
Let's go!
We show up, not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together. We organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
What's up? It's Talib Kweli. I'm CEO. This is the Black Star Network.
Folks, welcome back. We're here at Virginia State University. Roland Martin Unfiltered, broadcasting live. Great to be back here. Our next two guests, y'all know them well. Sitting to my left, Virginia's senior senator, Virginia Mark Warner. And, of course, the first black Speaker of the House in Virginia, Speaker Don Scott. All right, let's get right into it. One of the things that we are seeing here, when we talk about, and I've been saying that this administration targeting African Americans, defunding Black America, we have a grossly unqualified individual who wasn't even good. Right. That's a long list. Who wasn't even qualified to be even a TV anchor, who's Secretary of Defense, who is specifically targeting black folks. I had retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore, who said he sat on that group where they recommended people. He said it was an apolitical process. This man is targeting black members of the military, women in the military. He desires white men in leadership in the military, and as Pete Hicks said, and that's what happens again when people don't vote. This is the end result.
This man should have never been anything but a Fox News announcer. And he has cut back a black chairman Joint Chiefs. He cut back black senior leaders in the Air Force. He's got taken now 4 recent, he particularly goes after black women. And the military, for all its flaws, was the place that was merit-based. And he is trying to reverse that from the last 60 years.
So the people who claim merit now don't like merit in the military.
They want merit that when people pay their time, do their dues, and rise up through a meritocracy, he is now saying, no, if you don't look like me, you're not going to get a promotion.
But because we all know that the only reason he's Secretary of Defense is because he was so great, right? Only the best people. So we know, we already know that all they want is undying loyalty, and that the fact that they would attack black women specifically and black leadership overall lets us know that their agenda is no longer hidden. We don't have to worry about what they're hiding or they're trying to trick us anymore. They're blatant. They're saying the quiet part very loudly. And if you're not getting the memo now and you're still defending these folks, then we got some problems.
And the reason this is important because, I've been trying to get people to see it in a much broader way. First of all, when you deny the promotion, for many of these folks, promotion only lasts 2 or 3 years, and then they retire. So they're retiring at a lower level. You're impacting the economics.
Their retirement pay.
With the retirement pay.
How they're viewed.
Then what you're also doing is you are actually stunting the growth of an individual going from 1-star to 2-star to 3-star to 4-star. And so the end result is if this continues over the next 2 years until 2028, and let's say the Democrat wins in 2029, that means you're going to have 4 years of stunted growth, and that is a loss of a lot of leadership.
And talent. And you compound that with a couple of things. One, I was chairman of the Intelligence Committee, now I'm the vice chairman. They are also undermining the whole intelligence community. If people speak truth to power, they get fired. And what I've seen, when I've worked with a lot of these Republican senators, I think they love our country, but they have lost all backbone and spine. There is no Republican Party. There's a group of sycophants to Donald Trump. And I've seen Republican senators quit that. I wish they would go public because they said to me, Mark, I don't like this, but I can't afford to pay for security because what happens is this MAGA crowd goes not only after the senators or the speaker, but we all absorb that. That shouldn't be the price of admission, but it is. But what this crowd does is they go after the families, particularly their daughters. And one senator told me, I can't afford to pay security for my 4 daughters. This senator's quitting. And if we allow this to go on, and if we don't call a halt, and part of what we're trying to do here in Virginia is to call a halt and say, no, you cannot, because they will. I wrote a big piece in the New York Times the other day. They are going to try to corrupt this election. So we have to win in such a margin that there is no doubt about the people of Virginia, the people of Texas, you name it, in terms of what the margin is. But it all starts, at least in Virginia, because we are ground zero on this redistricting battle. We don't get yes, then our ability to really move this debate on a national basis is going to be dramatically undercut.
I played this clip down on my show, and it came from, obviously, school in Virginia for the movie Remember the Titans, when he said, Herman, leave no doubt. And my deal is that's what has to happen at the ballot box. Leave no doubt. We must overwhelm the ballot box, and so they understand what's going on here. Because, again, the attacks are very clear. The attacks are in every area. It's impacting all Americans, but specifically for African Americans. We're talking academics, business, health, science, civil rights, social justice, nonprofits, small businesses, every single sector. That is part of their agenda. And they are literally angry. Project 2025, Heritage Foundation, they believe that America began to decline with the passage of the 64 Civil Rights Act, the 65 Voting Rights Act, and the 68 Fair Housing Act, and everything that's happened ever since.
And this whole point we talk about elections, I mean, first of all, Virginia just taught the nation how to vote and how to win. We just did it in 2025. Abigail Spanberger won by 15. We went from a 51-49 majority in the House of Delegates to a 64-36 majority. We know.
Led by this speaker.
We know how to win elections. Yeah, I ran him hard, put him up wet. But and get ready to do it again for yourself, and I'm gonna do the same for you. And so this is what we need to do. We need to make sure that we get Senator Mark Warner reelected. We cannot play around with these people. We cannot play around. This is not the time. We know, when Roland talks about that, I was born in 1965. I know I look good for my age, but I'm 61. And 1965 was the same year. March 7th was the day that, John Lewis walked across that Edmund Pettus Bridge. I was born on March 5th, so I like to say I watched it on TV and I was inspired at 2 days old. But in our lifetime, y'all, they're trying to roll all of that back. This is not ancient history. This just happened. And so in our lifetime is when America began to realize the real call of its promise, where everybody got to participate in the democracy. That's what we're doing right now.
Be true to what you put on paper.
And they put it on paper, and now we're holding them to their account. And now that we are, listen, we're the most feared part of the electorate in the world right now. The black vote in America, the black vote in the Commonwealth of Virginia. If we come out and do what we need to do, that is why they are lying in those flyers every day. They sending those flyers out just lying. They lying on Abigail Spanberger. They lying on President Barack Obama. They sending out anybody. They know that because our power is so strong. When we unite, we get to have a voice in every part of this country. And as a veteran myself, unlike the president, President Bone Spurs, my grandfather was a veteran. My father was a veteran. I'm a veteran. I take a back seat to love of this country to no one. And so if we really want to show our love to this country, we have to stand up and vote. We need to participate. As the senator said, we need whatever they want to, whatever try to roadblocks they put up. You need a passport? Okay, I'm going to get that. We need to be prepared and be ready now because we can't wait until after this happens. They're telegraphing what they're going to do. We need to be ready to participate.
See, Senator, when we talk about power, when we talk about the use of power, I go back to 2016. Antonin Scalia dies, Supreme Court Justice, and then President Barack Obama, and I absolutely disagreed with naming Merrick Garland. I was very much on record. And I said then, they're not going to give this man a hearing. They held that position open. Mr. McClellan said voters will decide in November. And what I am trying to explain to people now, if Democrats hold Georgia, win North Carolina, then you look at Maine, you look at Iowa, you look at Alaska, you look at the potential is there, potential to go 53-47. What then happens is they can't get anyone through the United States Senate. And I said, and I'm very clear, if anything happens with any Supreme Court justice, if Dems take control, say, nah, we ain't having no hearings to the next election. And my whole point there is when somebody else is exercising power, then they have to be on the receiving end of power. People have to understand this is the reality of politics. This is where we are now.
Amen. But I want to go back to one of the things the speaker said. My first full-time venture in Virginia politics was 1989 when I had the honor of being Doug Waller's campaign manager. Got to know Delores and others. We went from that being the capital of the Confederacy to what happened, what the governor did, Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, but this young man here, we're the only state in the country that's got a black speaker. We're the only state in the country that's got a black chairman of the Appropriations Committee in the House, a black female chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, and she works it up pretty good, Louise, a black head of the Democratic Senate Caucus. This translates into power. And of the 64 members, how many of those new members are the 13?
7, 6, 7, 8. One of them right there, Kimberly Pope Adams, right there from Petersburg.
And that translates into being willing to take on a bold thing. This man had to convince me. This is a bold thing that we're doing to push back at this level in Virginia. But when the other side is adhering to no rules, no morals, no ethics. A lot of y'all have given me crap over the years that I was too bipartisan. I'm in the phase right now. If the Republican Party comes back, I'll be bipartisan again. Until that time, kick their ass.
All right. I ain't got a problem kicking, but that's better than that simper, temper, whatever. Tim, I ain't know what.
Just remember, he is my junior senator. We actually met at law school. We did not meet in the library.
Speaker Scott, the point about, again, I try to explain to the audience, again, how power is used. So in the short time, we're only talking 2.5 months, where you control the House, you control the Senate, and the governor's mansion. For folks who don't know what is already being passed and signed into law.
Oh, man, listen. She just sent me a list, too, the governor did. Today, who in here would want their family member supporting their family making what's the federal minimum wage, $7.25?
$7.25.
Who gonna work for that? Raise your hand. Okay. Right now in Virginia, we bumped it up to 13, but now we just passed a bill guaranteeing the minimum wage at $15 an hour.
That's a living wage.
Minimum wage. And not only that, it will continue to go up with inflation. So 15 is not the end. It will go up in living wage for people that are working every single day to be able to afford to subsist, to survive, in some cases to thrive. Why do you work 2 jobs and not make $60,000 a year if you're working 2 jobs, which is what that is? That's one. We passed affordable housing bills. We passed bills to lower utility costs. We passed bills to make our streets safer. Right now, in today, we're doing that. And we put unprecedented amount of funding in public education. Unprecedented. We have a teacher pay raise in the budget right now once we get it done. And we're going to get a budget, y'all. We're just fighting a little bit. It's just family affair. We're going to get it straight. But we're going to get a budget. Senator Lucas is flexing. She's strong sister, and she's going to get it done. And luckily, we got...
she's such a quiet church lady.
And if she would just figure out how to use social media.
Yeah. But
she'll be joining us tomorrow from Norfolk State.
Yeah.
Look forward to having her.
But she's fighting, and we're fighting to make sure that we do all of the things. One of the things that I was asked about this moment that we're in right now, our ancestors would be so proud of what we've done and what we're doing right now here in the capital of the Confederacy, as the governor said. But not only that, they would be ashamed if we didn't stand up in this moment and fight back right now to make sure that our children and grandchildren don't have to have that fight the next generation. We need to do our work right now. Each and every one of us, regardless of race, creed, or we need to do our work right now because dude is crazy. Dude is going to war. He tweeting out on Easter Sunday. He tweeting out stuff. He cursing and acting a fool on Easter Sunday, and just trying to control.
He's actually a Christian, so.
Well, I mean, but at least he can pretend.
All right, so.
Well, you know what he say, 2 Corinthians. But we have to right now. I mean, this is not the time. They want us to be despair. They want us to panic. But what we've always done in moments like this is we've organized. We went to work. We've communicated with one another. We went from house to house, and we got folks organized to go out and vote. And when we go out and vote and let our voices be heard, we make sure that the next generation doesn't have to face this last generation. We slept on this dude. Yeah, y'all got to admit we slept. I heard some of y'all say, well, he entertaining. Well, he not that bad. But not on that show. But there was some folks that was saying, he not that bad, but he's terrible.
No, I was at the NBA.
We got people right now saying, well, I don't believe in the gerrymandering and we don't fight fire with fire. Man, listen, this is not about fires, okay? This man is really trying to dismantle everything that people like John Lewis, Dr. King, and others vote for.
I'm going to say it is about fires because he has specifically, Donald Trump, this has never happened before. He has specifically said, I'm not funding things in blue states. Federal judges have ruled against him.
Yeah.
They ruled against him by saying, you can't just not fund a blue state because they didn't vote for you over here. You're talking about fire. There was a natural disaster in California. His staff had to convince him that the people in Orange County voted for him to declare disaster assistance. That's how petty we're doing the person.
It's like you quoting the guy who was the co-founder of the Moral Majority. You need to just quote the most recently departed, another one that should have never been in this position, Christy Nome, who said, we want the right people to vote for the right people. You know, that does not take a lot of translation. And the idea that like a week ago, he said he put out an executive order that said they want all of the voter files to come back and they're going to do their magic Elon Musk scrape of those voter files. First of all, anybody that knows about a voter file knows there are people that die every day. There are new voters that come in. There is no static voter file. But if that got to the DHS's hand and they could suddenly review who gets to vote, I think a lot of people in this room aren't going to get to vote. And they're not going to tell you until you show up at the polls. So we need that whole save.
And then they'll say, no, you can vote.
Voter disenfranchisement at a level that goes back to when this country changed in the 60s.
But then
this is all on the table at this point.
But then they're going to say, no, you can vote. Here's a provisional ballot. But provisional ballots are only going to count if it's in a certain percentage. And so we already know what that game is there. That's what we're dealing with. And again, you're seeing it directly how they are specifically refusing to fund initiatives in certain states, and they're saying, they're literally looking at polling. No, let's see. That county. Y'all voted for Harris. Yeah, we're not going to fund things there.
One of the things that makes me crazy was I've been a champion for a while of something called Community Development Financial Institutions, CDFIs.
CDFIs.
They help access to capital. Listen, I failed the first 2 times in business. Third time I did well. I hope I'm self-aware enough to know that if I had not been a white guy with the right education, I wouldn't have gotten 3 chances or 2 chances or maybe even 1 chance. So CDFIs are a way to say, how do you help that black business person get access to capital, somebody that wants to do a little bit of redevelopment. And what the amazing thing is, in Trump's first term, he became a champion of this. In COVID, we got $12 billion for this. Help build the whole industry. He comes in this next term, and he wants to cut them to pieces. This man he was bad the first term, but he had some decent people around him. This is a crowd of people who want to take the country back. They want to take all of the progress since 1964 and 65 and rewrite it and rewrite our history. And it is not going to be based upon meritocracy. It is going to be based upon, unfortunately, a 1950s version of America that did not include most of you in this.
Yep. I'm always about connecting the dots. When he was there in his first term, the reason the CDFI money was there because the Constitution says that any bill that involves money starts in the House. When he was there the first time, Democrats controlled the House. The person who was the chair of the House Financial Services Committee was Congresswoman Maxine Waters. I need y'all to go ahead.
Yeah, in Virginia, when we get the power back, the chairman of the Education and Labor Committee in the House will be our own Bobby Scott.
Right. So I'm trying to. So the reason I'm saying that. So I know Congresswoman Waters, huge champion of CDFIs. She's been on the show many times. So if folk vote yes April 21st, and then if Dems win the House in November, she returns as chair of House Financial Services Committee. Benny Thompson is the chair of the Department of Homeland Security. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty is a subcommittee chair. All of a sudden, there are going to be 6 to 7 CBC members who will be chairing committees. That means the legislation has to go through them. So that's why I'm trying to get people to understand how they vote in this election will have broader implications across the country for public policy and black political power. And in about 15 minutes, if that happens, then our guest in 15 minutes will be just like you, making history as the first black Speaker of the House. That's why the election matters.
And that's why it's so important. That's why folks are doing everything in their power. We've never seen this unprecedented amount of deception.
They pulling the KKK out, man.
When they pulled Jim Crow,
they scared.
They pulled Jim Crow and the KKK and every image to try to scare the heck out of black folk. Like, oh my God, we're going back to slavery. Yeah, that's how much they're lying right now. And so it's so incumbent upon us right now that we get out and do everything that we can to vote, because Texas, basically, Trump called Texas and said, I need 4 or 5 seats. Get them for me. And they did it. And they did it in a way that was so cynical. They did it through the legislature. And the Democrats tried to deny quorum as long as they could. They had to come back. And now Virginia, you know.
Well, they ain't have to, but go ahead.
Okay. He wanted them to stay away from home ever. But at the end of the day, this is what they expected. Everybody always talks about Democrats being soft. We don't know how to fight back. We fight and we soft and we letting them do what they want to do. Now we fighting back. And we fighting back, and we're fighting the same fight that they're fighting. And now that we're fighting back, they whining. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. We're going to get this done.
And in Virginia, at the end of the day, it's not a group of legislators that decide this in the back room. It's you. It's you. So if we don't come out on April 21st, and up the week before, we can't blame it on Delores,
right.
Kimberly, or even Don Scott.
If you haven't voted now, y'all need to leave here tomorrow morning, and they open at it. Go vote tomorrow. Then on Super Saturday, next Saturday, go vote again Super Saturday. Then the following Saturday, take everybody we all got to go out and vote. We should be breaking records right now.
Right.
The data tells us right now, which is unbelievable to me because I just spent a whole year of my life running this last election. Right now, the turnout is higher now than it was in the 2025 gubernatorial election. But that don't mean it's all us.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's all Democrats. We need to make sure that it is, though. Because if it's not, we know that no folks coming out. I rode by a dude waving a big old huge Confederate flag the other day. I had to get out the car. I had to skirt. What the what? I backed up. I had to take a picture. I said, y'all, if you were wondering, here's this big old flag waving, huge flag bigger than this room. Flag waving and no signs everywhere. I said, if you have a doubt about who you aligned with right now in this moment, let me just show you. So there are folks who are motivated for the same reasons that they were motivated by in 1965 when John Lewis crossed that bridge.
Senator Warner, there's somebody watching, there's somebody listening, and they're just not buying it. If you were standing in front of them, trying to convince them why they must be active and engaged in this election, what would you tell them?
I tell them, one, unless you want your son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter to end up in another war in the Middle East, if you think that is important, vote yes on this referendum to make sure that we can stop it. If you feel like the progress of the last 60 years is important so that you can pass that on to your children, if you choose not to vote, what the Speaker said is right. There's a whole crowd of folk that want to move our country backwards. This has only been, and you said it, this has not been America 250 years. It's only been in America, frankly, the last 60 years, where we make not only the moral case that we all ought to get a piece, but frankly, the economic case. Yep. You don't include black people and brown people and women, and then the whole enterprise of our country is not going to do as well. It's bottom line business sense. But there is a crowd that would rather take us back than embrace what this country should and could be. And it's all down to us. I mean, I never thought I'd say things and see things happening in my lifetime in our country that are happening right now on a daily basis. And I'm not even getting to the UFOs, as they said on Intelligence Committee chair. But there is such stuff. They are throwing so much stuff. There is such a reversal of what has stood as rule of law. I mean, Tim was talking about rule of law. This guy has no respect for the law. So not on our watch should be the word that we're going to take our country back.
Right. And that's why I specifically, again, it was a week or two after the inauguration, where I laid out in more than an hour the notion of defunding Black America. When you talk about contracting, we talk about Atlanta today. Maynard Jackson, 1973, elected. The year before, when he walked into the mayor's office, African Americans were receiving 0.0012% of city contracts. Okay, not 1%, not 0.5%, not 0.25%, 0.0012. That's virtually nothing. And he completely changed that. His grandfather told him about the 3 B's. The ballot and the book were 2 of those. And what we have to recognize, and again, when you talk about the CDFIs, loaning, in Trump's budget, we broke it down on the show last week, they want to completely eradicate programs for black businesses. There is, the targeting is clear that we are seeing, and it's in every single area. We had a sister from the University of Missouri. They are no longer funding their group on the campus, their black student group, because Trump's folks are threatening to pull the research funding, the federal funding, from the University of Missouri. So that's how deep. There's not a single black nonprofit, Speaker Scott, in America that's not been impacted by the attack on DEI. Mm-hmm. That is public policy. Mm-hmm. And that's why voting is tied to that.
And it got, especially when Musk was in and the Doge stuff, it got so crazy. There's a jurisdiction in Virginia that the Speaker knows, Washington County, far southwest Virginia. It's got a black population, maybe 2%.
Mm-hmm. They were on the list.
Well, here's what happened. This poor group they decided to rip out their computers from the high school because under Biden, they got a digital equity grant. Trump comes in, and these lunatics take this completely out of this rural 98% white county because the grant said
equity.
That is stupidity on steroids. But that's what we're dealing with, sir.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with, which is why what I keep saying, and I spoke, you had a women's leadership, what was it called? Women Leadership Summit Conference. Well, they asked me to drop by. She actually threatened me and made me go by.
Good.
She wanted a free speech, so I went by. I gave him some remarks. Not Delores. So I drive by, but this is what I said to them, and I've been saying this for the more than last year. We need to be voting at a minimum 70% of our capacity. When you look at a lot of places where we do black turnout, we're looking at some places 38, 42, 45, 50, 52, 55. We get excited if it hits 60. But if black turnout is at a minimum of 70%, we sweep elections. The numbers are the numbers. And so that's where we have to be. And so when you talk about here what Speaker Scott said, it literally means if every person in this room says, I'm going to call 5 people, and I'm going to ask those 5 to call 5 people, and then those 5 call 5, now all of a sudden you see multiplication, the numbers and how they change. That's the only way this is going to happen. Final comments from the both of you. Speaker Scott, you first, and then Senator Warner.
I'm going to continue. I'm going to sound like a broken record. If we don't vote, we deserve what we get. Simple as that. Don't complain to me and you didn't go out and vote and you didn't carry everybody out. This man has told you exactly what he's doing. We didn't even talk about the health care crisis that he's causing in the country. We didn't even have a chance to talk about him pulling insurance, pulling supplemental nutritional systems for children, making children starve. We didn't even talk about his Secretary of Health, measles outbreaks all over the country. This is what we're dealing with right now. We've never seen anything like this. And so Virginia has a responsibility and a duty, I believe now, to respond. And this is the time to respond. And we can respond with yes. If you having any doubts, go just turn on the news. Every day you turn on the news and you turn it on. I know some of y'all got PTSD, don't even watch it no more. But if you turn it on, you're going to see, can he do that? Every day. Is that legal? Is anybody doing anything about that? The problem is we don't control Congress. And so because there's no check on him and they're so afraid of him, right. It is a cult. Everything that they're doing. So I'm telling everybody, unless you want to be drinking the Kool-Aid too, this is the time to go out and vote.
Senator.
I just add, we're a great HBCU. You know, we have got great HBCUs in Virginia.
Good job.
And finally, at the end of COVID and beginning of Biden, some of the historic cutbacks we made a little progress back. There were a couple of years there at HBCUs we made some progress back. If you want to make sure that your children and grandchildren have the opportunity to go to a school that reflects history and culture, we allow this man to tear down all the HBCUs across the country. You take away a part of American history, not just black history, but American history. That's at stake as well.
Absolutely. Y'all give it up. Senator Mark Warner, Speaker Don Scott. Thanks a bunch. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, 06. Absolutely. We'll see you tomorrow at Norfolk State University. We're not gonna go to a break. We're just gonna bring in our next guest. Put your hands together for Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan. Right here. That's fine. You're gonna switch right? That's cool. All right. So, according to the black folks who've been being paid to send flyers out, Virginia is in danger of losing your seat.
First, before I address that lie, I want to welcome you not only to the 4th Congressional District, to my hometown. I grew up on this campus. My parents worked here. I have an honorary degree here, and I'm excited to have you here.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Glad to be here. So again, I mean, I see this commercial like, oh, we're in danger of losing our 2 black congressional seats.
So these are the same people who right now are cheering on the Supreme Court to put the final nail in the coffin of the Voting Rights Act by striking down majority minority districts in Louisiana. They talk out of both sides of their mouth, but just to say it plainly, the 3rd District and the 4th District, represented by Bobby Scott and myself, will continue to have significant minority populations. And, they can't have it both ways, right? They cannot have it both ways. That on the one hand, you claim you're trying to preserve majority minority districts, and yet on the other side, you're trying to completely eliminate them. So, but they lie. They lie, they cheat, they steal, they do whatever they need to do to win. And we're fighting back, and they don't like it. But we're going to keep fighting.
Absolutely. It's been an interesting conversation. And again, the point that when you talk about seats, and I'm going to keep hammering this, in the last 4 years, even in the last year, Republicans have wiped out 5 black congressional seats. Mm-hmm. And again, when that Louisiana versus Calais decision comes down, some estimates say that could wipe out 20 seats. Mm-hmm. On the federal level. Mm-hmm. That number is going to be even higher when we start talking about, you just had some wins in Mississippi, mm-hmm. Where they broken the supermajority there, where they elected, the courts ordered the election, and a couple of African-Americans got elected. Mm-hmm. The Opportunity District in Alabama, of mm-hmm. course, and depending upon that ruling, they could wipe out Congresswoman Terry Sewell's district as well, and you could have no black member of Congress in Alabama. So folk need to understand that goes from Congress, then to state rep, state senate, all the way down. This is what we're living in, where they are saying they want to completely wipe out the last 60 years of progress.
No, they want to wipe out the last 150 years of progress, not just the last 50 years.
Yeah, because of course the Supreme Court case in the 14th Amendment, that's one of the Reconstruction Amendments.
That's right. And I would be remiss as the history nerd that I am if I didn't remind you, we've been here before. This is the biggest backlash to progress that this country has seen since the backlash to Reconstruction. I heard Senator Warner and Speaker Scott talking about how much we had to do to make the idea of we the people include us. It didn't include us. Declaration of Independence didn't include us. In a government by, of, and for the people, government reflects the perspective and therefore meets the needs of the people who participate. But from the beginning, we weren't included. And the history of this country has been every time we have made progress towards black people specifically, but marginalized people generally gaining social, political, and economic power, there is a backlash that involves three things. See if this sounds familiar. Propaganda, violence, voter suppression. And this is the biggest backlash since the backlash to Reconstruction, which that backlash eliminated hundreds of black men who served in Congress and state legislatures across this country. Mm-hmm. We went from 100 black men who represented Virginia in the General Assembly during Reconstruction to 0 between 1902 and 1968. That is what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah, and the difference is, and again, when you talk about this is what they're doing, but there has to be an appropriate response to it.
Yes.
And so we can talk about historically what happened. Historically, our folk fought back as best that they could.
Yes.
What we have are tools at our disposal that, frankly, are not being maximized.
And we need to maximize them. And this redistricting referendum is one way to do that. And none of us want to be here. But you can't just fight with one hand tied behind your back when the other side is bringing not just both hands, but brass knuckles and a knife and a gun and whatever else they need.
Right.
You gotta respond. And so here's the difference, though. Texas and Missouri, their state legislator went in a back room.
And North Carolina.
Went in the back room with no public input, came up with a map and said, here it is. California and Virginia, we're letting the voters decide. That's a huge difference.
Yep. Well, again, early voting is right now. Election is April 21st. And folk got to simply do their part.
Yeah, we have to. I'm going to end with John Lewis. In his final words to us, said, democracy is not a state. It is an act that requires every generation to do its part to build the beloved community. Democracy by itself is not the goal, it's what you do with it. My great-grandfather did his part by having to take a literacy test and find 3 white men to vouch for his character to be able to register to vote. My grandfather paid poll taxes to be able to register to vote. My great-grandmothers never voted. My mother didn't get to vote till after the Voting Rights Act. But I sit before you as the first and only black woman ever to represent the Commonwealth of Virginia, the birthplace of American democracy and American slavery, because every generation did its part. This generation needs to do its part so that future generations have a democracy to be a part of.
All right. Put your hands together for Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll speak with Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network live on the campus of Virginia State University. Back in a moment.
MAGA Republicans ended diversity programs, cut funding for black students, and fired federal employees. And they won't stop there. Now, they've redrawn congressional maps so that they can rig the November election. But we have the power to stop them. By voting yes for fair elections, we have the final say on who represents us in Congress. This is a temporary measure to restore fairness. They are not backing down, and neither can we. Make a plan to vote by April 21st and vote yes for fair elections.
I'm Russell L. Honoré, Lieutenant General, United States Army, retired, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back. We're going to close the show out with my next guest. We had all of these guests from Virginia, and so he found out we were here, and so he was like, hey, I need to get in on this here. So he wanted to bring some Brooklyn flavor to this thing. So Y'all put your hands together. He's joining us virtually. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Great to be with you, Roland. Great to be with all of you in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
We've been talking about and we've been laying out in terms of what is going to happen in terms of with this election in Virginia. It has national implications. What happens here can impact who controls the United States House. That determines Democrats win the House. Then, if elected, you become the first black Speaker of the House. But also, you're going to see CDC members chairing committees, chairing subcommittees. And so, really, this state election could very well determine the nation moving forward.
Well, that's exactly right. We're so thankful to the people of Virginia who have undertaken this effort in terms of being able to make a decision that could impact not just the future of the Commonwealth, but the future of Black America and the future of the United States of America in terms of pushing back against this gerrymandering scheme that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans have launched, where they want to rig the midterm elections so that Donald Trump is deciding who's in charge in the Congress in the aftermath of what takes place in November. We believe that it's the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia and the people of this great country who are the ones who should decide who's in the majority as a result of what happens in the midterm elections. And in making that decision, it will have a significant impact on the quality of life of the American people. Because what this Republican-controlled Congress has done in terms of increasing the cost of living, ICE is totally out of control. They've gotten us into this reckless war of choice in the Middle East where they're spending billions of dollars to drop bombs in the Middle East, in Iran, but won't spend a dime to make health care more affordable for the American people. They're doing policy violence to everyday Americans. And the best chance for us to reverse it is to make sure that there are free and fair elections in November. And voting yes on this referendum will give us the best possible chance to ensure that that's what takes place.
What I have been saying as well is that when you look at then who controls levers of power, what they've done is they've wiped out 5 black districts, 2 in Texas, 1 in Florida, 1 in Missouri, 1 in North Carolina. If this passes in Virginia, then what you will see in Congress, you will see African Americans chairing committees, 30 CBC members being subcommittee chairs. That's the folks who are deciding what bills move forward, what gets placed in those bills. And so that expands the opportunities for African Americans nationally by having those members being in control. Because, look, as you know it, Congresswoman McClellan knows it, it's a huge difference when you're in the majority versus being in the minority.
There's no doubt about that. I have the honor representing a district that was first represented by the late, great Shirley Chisholm. And I serve in many of the neighborhoods that she once represented. Of course, when Shirley Chisholm was first elected, she was the first African-American woman ever to serve in the United States Congress. And in 1971, when the Congressional Black Caucus was founded, there were 13 members, 12 powerful brothers, and 1 incredible sister, Shirley Chisholm. Now, in 2026, there are more than 60 members of the Congressional Black Caucus, a majority of whom are black women. And if we are successful in taking back the majority in November, those congressmen and women are going to be able to govern with gavels in their hands in the majority, moving legislation designed to make life better for our communities, to focus on the things that matter: good paying jobs, good housing, good health care, good education for your children, and when it's all said and done, a good retirement, which of course means we can protect your Social Security and your Medicare.
But it also means them holding this administration accountable. Republicans have been in charge. They don't want to hold hearings. They don't want to use subpoena. And so if Democrats control the House and or the Senate, then they can now hold this administration to account with a lot of the things that they've done.
That's absolutely correct. Roland, as you know and have documented in such a compelling way, this is the most corrupt administration in American history. Donald Trump is an organized crime boss, and he's running a Trump cartel. And if these people are focused on enriching themselves, their family members, and their donors, then they're not focused on making life more affordable for the American people. And there's got to be accountability for the damage that they have done. Now, we've been successful so far in running some of these extreme cabinet members out of office. Kristi Noem is gone. Pam Bondi is gone, and we're working on Pete Hegseth next. We've done this in the minority. Imagine what we can do when we're in the majority.
Well, we certainly see what Pete Hegseth is doing in running off black folks from promotions in the military. And so it certainly would be great to see him run off because he is grossly incompetent in that particular position and not even remotely qualified for it. Last question for you before our time runs out, and I've asked this numerous times. What would you say to a brother, a sister, young voter, middle-aged, older voter, who says, I don't really see the big deal. Why do I actually have to turn out in this election? What would you tell that person?
Elections matter, and elections have consequences, and we're living through that right now. Imagine how life would be if Kamala Harris was sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Instead, we have a hater in the White House. And as a result of the policies that have been put into place, black unemployment is up, black home ownership is down, and at least 300,000 black women have lost their jobs, many of whom were federal employees who worked in Virginia or in other parts of the country, and others who have lost their jobs in the private sector. This is extraordinary. A lot of damage has been done because of who's in power right now. And we can both reverse that damage and bring about a brighter future for our young brothers and sisters so that their talent and ability and creativity and brilliance can be brought to life.
Right then, Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Now, I can't fully see, did you actually wear a Kappa shirt on my show?
Well, you may be able to see the cane, and I wanted to make sure that the Divine Nine was fully represented, because if it's a Roland Martin operation, I know that Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated will always be fully represented, and I wanted to make sure that this 1911 organization was counted amongst the number along with everybody else.
Well, I'll check it, because I said, he wearing that. The only thing worse if you wore a Yankees shirt, me being an Astros fan. All right, Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna close this out with this. You've heard folks say elections matter, but it's not just you voting; it's also what is visible. You heard Speaker Scott say he's driving, sees this huge Confederate flag, signs everywhere. And I've had a lot of people tell me, and I remember this in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was running for president, and the same thing in last election. I've heard a lot of these really smart, and I'll be very clear, white Democratic strategists like, oh, that's stuff like yard signs and door knock, that stuff doesn't matter. It actually does, because what happens is when people see a plethora of signs from the other side, they say that becomes momentum building. And so when we talk about putting signs, and listen, my parents ran elections, they worked on campaigns, and I remember being 10 and 11 and 12, having splinters in my hand, having to have some gloves by having to carry them damn yard signs. And so when we talk about how old school is still new school, old school still works. Yard signs matter. Door knockers matter. Calling people matter. offering people ride to the polls matter. And so Bishop William Barber and I have talked about this a whole lot. We've talked about getting 1,000 alphas to come together to be trained in organizing and mobilizing. And what I need this generation to understand in Virginia, in Petersburg, but also in this country, is that we can't hope somebody else does it. We can't hope someone else actually shows up. Again, I am the child of two people who were engaged in what was happening in our community in Clinton Park in Houston with our civic club and caring about the things happening there. And so this election impacts every single thing. It literally impacts the neighborhood. It impacts the person, the street, the block, the neighborhood, the city, the state, the country. But that requires all of us to be fully engaged to make this happen. It requires us using our voice. It requires us, yes, challenging people, asking them, are you registered? And if you are, have you voted? If you've not, when are you going to vote? And then if you have not voted, you can't come to my house for Sunday dinner if you haven't voted. You can't come hang out and watch the game if you haven't voted. Everybody should be saying, no, I need to see your sticker showing that you actually voted, because that's the only way that happens. Again, I grew up where you just couldn't just waltz through and say, yeah, man, I sort of skipped it. No, because every single election matters. And we say this all the time, that every election matters. There's no such thing as, well, this is the most important election of our time, because every single election, because the people who are voting, they understand what happens when they win. And when they win, they exercise power. And when they exercise power, then somebody's going to be a loser, somebody's going to be a winner. I need us to be on the winning side, and then us determining what public policy that we want, and then holding those folks accountable. And I'm a firm believer that there are politicians who are not doing the job. If they're Democrat or Republican, throw them out of office. That's why we have the power of the vote. But this is an opportunity for this generation to battle Jim Crow 2.0. And what we are witnessing is an absolute attack on Black America. So I need Black Virginians, I need Black folks in Petersburg to rise up and then show them, if y'all want to see what it looks like to piss Black people off, then we will show you what it looks like by turning out in massive numbers and giving you that big fat L on the night of April 21st. So let me thank everybody for being here in Virginia State. Tomorrow, we're going to be at Norfolk State. All right, Norfolk, give me a crowd shot. Norfolk, y'all going to have to show up. Virginia State turned it out. So we're going to see what y'all do at Norfolk State. So we're going to be there tomorrow, but broadcasting live on the campus, and so I appreciate it. Let me thank everybody that made this show possible, everybody here at Virginia State. Glad to see everyone here, and we always love coming back here. We appreciate y'all having us on your digital sign as well, being welcome to campus, and so look forward to becoming the next time. Don't forget, support Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. Listen, there is no other Black-owned media company in the country that does what we do, taking this show on the road, broadcasting all across the country. So your support is critically important, so please support us. If you want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's also for credit cards. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003-70196. Of course, PayPal's R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We also, of course, be sure to get our app, our Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. Folks, want to get our swag. Y'all see this zip up that I have? We've got zip up hoodies, hats, all that good stuff. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. And you also go there. We've got more than 50 Black-owned businesses on our virtual mall. We created this because a lot of Black-owned businesses do not have marketing own budgets. So you have an opportunity to buy products through our marketplace. And so we've got car cleaning solution. We've got jewelry, skincare. We've got dolls, STEM dolls. We've got backpacks, crossword puzzles, all that sort of stuff. So certainly go to shopblackstarnetwork.com to check out those black-owned businesses. Also, every day at noon Eastern, Brittany Noble, check out her show, The Breakdown with Brittany Noble, on the Black Star Network. Also, every Thursday, so when this show is over, you'll see the next installation of The Second Opinion with Dr. Ebony Jade Hilton. Of course, that is our new health show that, again, it's about focusing on health, so please be sure to check that out as well. And again, Norfolk State, I will see y'all tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Y'all know how we always end the show. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!